Hello, Elle, and welcome to the Red Tails podcast by Moddy Body. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Sash?
I'm doing well. You're here to talk about your first time going to school camp.
Yeah. I'll begin.
You'll begin.
I actually went to school camp in the UK, not in Australia, because I moved to the UK when I was about 6 years old. I was at boarding school. So it wasn't really my first time away from home, but it was more sort of, I just went to a new school. We were 13, and it was a new boarding school, and they took the entire year group, because no one knew anyone, to Oldswood in the Lake District for about a week. So it was a bunch of very socially conscious, terrified, very young teenagers, camping in the Lake District in the middle of winter. And there'd been a hurricane going on in the north of Scotland or something. It's dreadful, torrential rain, thunderstorms, and we were with all these packs wandering around the Lake District, doing all these orientation activities in small groups, trying to make friends. It was an interesting experience, and it was really, I don't know, it was a wild. It was an odd time because everyone sort of just bonded insanely quickly. We were doing high ropes, or we went into this caving situation. You were underground. And we were in really small groups, about 6 people. And I guess the purpose was to get everyone to have a friend by the time school started, properly. But yeah, camp was fun.
That's pretty extreme camp stuff.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was a pretty extreme school. I think it's also just no one knew anyone. So it was the entire purpose was, I guess, to ensure that the year group would work together, because it was a full boarding school. So they wanted to make sure that we could all live together and we could all spend time together without killing each other. So we arrived in the Lake District on these prison dorms, basically, of bunk beds, iron bunk beds, and given your group, and then we had to do everything for a week just with those 7 people. And the activities were just wild. There was one night we went to we had to go camping in this the jungle, this big forest basically, and one of the boys' tents flew off because of the weather. It was just insane weather, and someone had stolen the pegs from Katie and's tent. And so, 2 a.m., Katie and Sam's tent went flying, into the ether. And, no one knew where to go on. So we were all, up at, it's a bunch of the, 13-year-old kids, wandering around with torches trying to find this tent. It's a hurricane's, a few miles away. And we're, trying to, find. But, yeah, it was interesting. I don't know. You made very close friends very quickly. And they did stay friends for, the whole time there, which was at school, so.
Who were the 7 people that were in your group?
My was Katie, Sam, Robbie, Charlie, Amy, Sophia, Georgia, and me. So 8, including myself. Yeah, 7 others.
What were they like?
They were lovely. Yeah, all very bizarre. It was a very artsy school, so they were all very weird. BDAS was an interesting environment. It was a performing. It was a music, drama, that kind of school.
Oh,
fine
okay.
art. I know. I'm sorry.
So did you say fine art?
It was that kind of. It was fine art, performing, and music. Everyone kind of had a thing they really enjoyed, and then academics was kind of on the sideline. But no, they were fascinating human beings. I've known Sophia for ever. So I knew her going into camp, which was great. So I had one friend who I had known for my whole life, which was good.
That would have been nice to kind of help you ease into.
So important. I mean, it's so terrifying, I think, being completely separate from I don't know. We're so dependent on social structures and people we love, things we know, routines. When you're away from all of them, it's terrifying. So even having just one of those there, someone you have known for a long time, is so helpful. Yeah.
Like a buddy that you can kind of you're oh, we can talk about how uncomfortable we both are, and then just get over it.
And also how the safety of, I guess, so having a buddy there that you can talk to and can, I guess, deal with the whole situation comfortably. So someone you're comfortable around to stress to and to talk to is really helpful.
So you said that you moved to England for boarding school.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Where was your family at that time?
So my parents travel a lot for their work. So England was my father had got an opportunity, so we moved from Australia to the UK when I was 6. And I have a twin brother, so we went together. And began boarding on and off from about 7. And we're fully full-time boarding pretty soon after that, which was, yeah. I think on paper sounds quite terrifying, but again, having Rex there, having like family with you the whole time, so having my twin, Rex and my twin brother, makes it a lot easier. But also I think people are so adaptable that it becomes, like home can be created so quickly. So I think this idea of like homesickness, like it's so in the moment and so overwhelming, but then so quickly it goes away because like you find structures and you find people you enjoy and you find, I guess, you know, an environment that you can thrive in pretty quickly if you, you know, if you so please, if you wish to.
If you wish to thrive.
If you wish to thrive, you know, it's a struggle for some.
Do you ever get homesick still? Like now, like that was obviously you were a lot younger. Do you ever still experience the same feelings that you had when you were a teenager and kind of?
100%. I mean, I've spent homesickness I don't think ever goes away. I mean, I spend probably the majority of my life away from home at this point. And there's never been a moment where I'm in a new environment that I'm not like in the moment of arriving there and like experiencing sort of, let me rephrase that. I think it becomes really easy to, I guess, like define yourself and who you are by what's around you, like the people you love, like your routines, your social structures, whatever it may be. So when you're completely extracted from that and you lose sort of touch with all of that, it's really confronting, one, just being with yourself and having to like experience who you are, having to fully see who you are and I guess sort of unravel that, but also missing all stability. And like that never goes away. Like you're never not gonna want to see your parents and like want to like know what to do. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Are you somebody you would say that like puts yourself out there, like in those situations on purpose? Do you have you learnt to thrive, as you said?
Yeah, it's really addictive. I think once you're, I don't know, as you know, I like to go to places that you're probably not supposed to go to.
Like
the Middle East, I don't know, like hitchhiking around like Palestine or whatever it might be, you know. It does become, if you're someone that enjoys risks, once you've experienced that type of risk, it becomes quite addictive. I'm not sure school camp is the gateway drug to that, but I do think you find that part of yourself when you experience it the first time, and that could be at school camp or that could be, I don't know, going to boarding school, whatever it might be.
But also like what you were saying about, you know, you had a buddy, you learn to like put yourself out there like with support. Like you don't go to those places without having told somebody first that you're going there.
100%. It's really important. But yeah. No, it's really important, I think, to allow yourself to seek comfort and to ensure that your own safety in whatever that may mean, whether it's like emotional safety or physical safety. I think emotionally it's always, I think, helpful to have either like a parent to call or someone right there with you that you've known that you can be with. But yeah, prioritize yourself. It's important.
It's very important, yeah. And being in boarding school and stuff like that, how did you kind of take care of yourself when you were emotionally like feeling maybe, you know, not 100%? What would you do to like, you said calling your parents?
I'm really lucky in regard to like whenever I felt completely out of sorts or in whatever situation, I've always had my parents to call. We're that type of family, I suppose. They've always, prioritized communication. I think having a parent to call is so vital for me in regard to like feeling secure and knowing that I can like jump off the cliff if I can call mum as I'm falling down, and that she will send a parachute eventually. It'll all be okay.
Hopefully quickly.
Hopefully quickly. That's the thing, yeah. Having people having a parent to call. Also, I think just, I don't know, this sounds silly, but meditation and like, I think centering yourself and sort of, I think, trusting yourself, finding, I guess, an internal sanctuary or something, a place in yourself where you can go that you feel safe. And like, whether that's meditating or just going to a happy place or music playing. Finding different outlets where you can just cut out your fears and like be in who you are for a moment is really helpful. I don't know.
And when did you how did you first kind of develop those skills? Because you're somebody who, you're very calm. You're very not.
It is what they said.
But you're like
Zen-like.
You're crazy, but you are Zen-like. So how did you kind of develop those skills? Was it an independent thing?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, people often describe. I'm very very high energy, but pretty low maintenance. Is probably. I think you're forced. Again, force is the wrong word. You're forced to be adaptable when you're always put into different situations, and you will be throughout your life. I think mine are probably more radical than most people, but I think I don't know anyone that hasn't experienced sort of being thrown out of their comfort zone repeatedly across their first 21 years of existence, and you're forced to adapt to situations. I developed my methods of dealing with homesickness because I was always away from home pretty quickly. By the time I was 13 years old, that was an easy thing to do. So I suppose, I don't know, answer the question.
Well, when you went on your first school camp or when you first went to boarding school and you were faced with leaving home, how did you feel? Because by now, when you put yourself out there, you have those skills. You know, what you can do to kind of center yourself. But prior to that, what was your feeling?
I'm not someone that gets scared. So when I first went to boarding school and school camp, I wasn't necessarily terrified that I was going to need to adapt. I don't really think forward very well. So I feel like my brother does, and so he's probably a better example for that. I think.
Well, how did he feel?
Also, he overwhelmingly terrified, and he's always before going into a situation has always has prepared himself for it emotionally. But he'll always go to the place beforehand. He'll scout out what he's gonna do. He'll ensure that he knows exactly what's. He'll plan an absurd amount. He'll plan exactly what he's going to do, how he's going to get. He likes to have lists and to ensure that everything that could go wrong won't go wrong. And that gives him, I think, a sense of security going into that. Going into whatever situation it may be, leaving home. I, on the other hand, have always sort of thought that would scare me more. I think thinking about it beforehand is terrifying. I think. So my method's always been to act as if everything's going to be fine, and it will be fine. Which sounds silly and dangerous, but I'm still alive, I'm here, which is great. And also, I've never really found that anything's gone wildly wrong. If you're always in the headspace that you can figure it out, and if you always, I think, find a confidence in yourself that you will thrive no matter what. And I think that's always been my mentality. And, that causes issues and, I forget things, problems and, chaos.
Well, I'm hugely impressed. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Elle. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.